Hello everyone. Today we are going to discuss about a new topic, that is rheology. Rheology means here we are going to study about the flow property of a matter. How does a matter will flow when stress is applied, and how will it is going to behave when the stress is removed. So on the basis of rheology, all the materials are divided into two categories, Newtonian fluids and non-Newtonian fluids. First, we are going to discuss about the Newtonian fluids. Newtonian fluids mean when the stress is applied, then the matter will start flowing, and when the stress is removed, then the material will stop on instant basis. So if we talk about its definition, then the definition is the fluids for which the shear stress is directly related to the rate of shear are called Newtonian fluids. If the graph is plotted between the shear stress and the rate of shear, then a linear line will be achieved. Linear lines always indicate uh, that the shear stress is increased by 5 unit, then the rate of shear will also increase by 5 unit. And if the shear stress is increased by a factor of 10, then the rate of shear will also increase by a factor of 10. In other words, the fluids which obey Newton's law of fluid flow are called Newtonian fluids. On the basis of the scientist Newton, these fluids are categorized as Newtonian fluids. So these fluids starts to flow when the stress is applied, and its deformation stops instantly when the stress is removed, as we discussed earlier. So the equation for the Newtonian fluid is F is equal to eta G. F represent here the amount of the stress, eta is viscosity of the fluid, and G is the rate of shear. Now the next topic is what is the law of flow, which is also related to Newtonian fluid. Law of flow means when we consider a part of a liquid, then it does not means it is a single layer of that fluid. It means it is made up of a multiple parallel layer which are stacked about or on each other. So when the stress is applied on the uppermost layer, then for example, if we are applying a stress of 100 unit, then it will move with respect to that 100 unit, but the lower layer which is below to the upper layer, for example, if the upper layer is A, then we are considering the lower layer is B. If we are applying a 100 unit force on the upper layer, then the layer B will not move with respect to 100 unit. Then the question arises, if the layer A is moving with respect of 100 unit, then why the layer B is not moving with respect of the 100 unit, where the some amount of force or some amount of stress has been decreased? It will come under the category of law of flow. We will discuss it with the help of an example. Consider a liquid which is made up of a parallel layer. Bottom layer is represented by Z and the top layer is represented by A. Top layer A is moving with some velocity on application of force, and the force is represented by F prime F dash. Between these two layers, between these two layers means the layer A and Z, there are many other layers of liquid which are moving with different velocity. If we talk about layer A, the layer A induce some flow in the layer B, because the layer A is moving, then it will induce the layer B to move with some velocity in the same direction. Then layer B also start moving, but the velocity of the layer B is less than layer A. What is the reason? Reason is layer C, which is present below the layer B. The layer C will cause some viscous drag to the layer B, and because of this viscous drag, the layer B will move with a slow velocity or with a low velocity in comparison to layer A. So if we talk about the velocity, then the velocity of the upper layer on which force has been applied will be greatest, and the velocity of the layer which is present to layer A will be somewhat lesser than layer A, and the velocity of C will be lesser than B, and velocity of the subsequent layer will goes on decreasing, and at the end a condition will arrive when the lowermost layer will not move and it will be stationary. Here is a diagram which represents the same situation. For example, we are considering a cube. We are considering that this cube is made up of different layers of liquid which are parallelly placed. The layer A is the uppermost layer, then layer B and layer C, and subsequent at the end the layer Z is present, which is a stationary layer. Area A here represent the area of the cube. It is the position of a cube or position of a various layer when no force has been applied. Now there is another diagram which shows when the force has been applied. When the force has been applied, we can see in the diagram the layer A has been moved to a much higher distance as compared to layer B and C. The distance traveled by layer A is more than layer B, and the distance traveled by the layer B is somewhat higher than layer C, and in this same way when we reach to the layer Z, it will not move to its original position. So we can say the layer Z is at stationary position right now. Now the different terms has been used while discussing the Newtonian fluid. So we will discuss here each topic. First question is shear. What is the shear? Shear basically means the internal friction of a liquid which makes it resist to flow. Which makes it resist means it will not allow the fluid to flow. As we all know, when the internal friction is higher, it will create greater force, it will require greater force to move. So we can simply say greater the internal friction, greater the force required to cause movement, which is called shear. Now the next topic is shear stress. Shear stress basically means the force which is required to move a particular area. For example, we are taking an example of a cube. Here we are specify a particular area of that cube. We are not considering the whole cube. And here F is equal to F dash divided by A. F is the total shear stress, F prime is the total force applied, and A is the surface area on which force has been applied. Next topic is rate of shear. The rate of shear or the velocity gradient is defined as change in velocity with an change in distance. G is equal to dV by dr. Higher the viscosity means higher is the force per unit area required to produce rate of shear. So shear stress is directly related to the rate of shear. F is directly proportional to G. Here F has been changed by the term F prime upon A, and G has been changed by the term dV by d. So eta has been added to remove the sign of proportionality. Then now the equation has become f prime upon a is equal to eta dv by dr. If we take eta at one side and the whole equation, whole terms on the other side, then the equation will become as eta is equal to f prime upon a divided by dv upon dr. Now we have to write about the name of the whole unit or whole terms here. Eta represent the coefficient of viscosity, and we have already discussed what are f prime a dv by dr. Now the question arises, what is the CGS unit for the viscosity? And this is also an important question if we talk about the GPAT exam. CGS unit for viscosity is poise or centipoise. Now for the easy learning of all the terms which has been used in previous section, we can simply define the following terms in our language. For example, shear. Shear means it has a material has some internal friction. Because of that internal friction, it resists to move, and how much it resists to move to certain distance is represented by a shear. The next term is shear stress. Shear stress means to a particular area how much force has been applied to move it. So the equation or so the definition is how much force is required per unit area, and the equation is F is equal to F prime upon A. The last term is rate of shear. When we move from layer A to B, then A move, for example, a distance of 1 meter. Then the layer B will not move to a distance of 1 meter, but it will move to a distance lesser than 1 meter. Then there is somewhat difference between their distance. So the difference between the distance is related to difference between the density velocity of these two layers, and this comparison of distance to velocity is represented by rate of shear, and rate of shear in equation term is represented by G.